I'm not gonna bad name any festivals, but after I saw that does happen, that's why I think it's so smart for people to make connections, talk to other people who have gone through it.
When you're submitting to film festivals, are you using a private link to send the film?
Mm-hmm.
And is it just for that one festival?
Yes. People have the option, if they go on there and look around, you can just send the link to that festival, which is what I usually do because it's easier for them to give it to whoever the screener people are going to be. The screener to the people who are going to be evaluating the film. You also have the option to send a screener a link with a password protected. But to me, if they're just going to send the same thing to anybody who's evaluating. So usually I just send the link and just trust that they're not going to send it out to anybody.
Okay. We recently spoke to a filmmaker who submitted his movie to 30 film festivals. And his movie was only watched 8 times according to the clicks on the screeners. What do you think about that?
I've been through it. And we keep an eye on that. I don't like it at all. I just think it's that's a money grab. That's yeah. I don't, I'm not gonna bad name any festivals, but after I saw that does happen, that's why I think it's so smart for people to make connections, talk to other people who have gone through it, talk to this person that you're talking about, ask if they've had any bad. This is why going to film festivals is great, but you have to go to the film festival to make these connections. But there's all sorts of different ways that you can meet people. Like LinkedIn is a great source. Instagram, I'm not a huge fan of Instagram personally, just because, I don't know, not my generation. I like to write a book.
Well, it's very selfie-driven too.
Yeah.
Or it's more pictures and reels and things, yeah.
But I think it's really important, though, to ask around and to be like, I heard that this happened to somebody. If you want to keep it private, has anyone else had the same experience? If so, what festivals? And do you have any good festivals that that actually, even if you didn't get in, did they watch the film 8 to 10, 12 times, So, because it shows all of that on Film Freeway. Or, I'm sorry, on Vimeo. On Vimeo.
Sure. Do you know how soon it registers a view? What if they watched it and go, oh, this isn't for me, but then they shouldn't be taking the film. But do you know at what point does it register?
I don't know. I've never worked, I don't want to say for them because I've never worked at a film festival, and I think that every film festival does it a little differently. I do know that only watching a film or not watching a film at all is very infuriating. It feels like a complete disrespect to filmmakers who work so hard and to not even give it a chance. That's just the most disrespectful thing you can do.
Sure. Or I could just say maybe they didn't watch it and then they accept you. I realize there's
Yeah.
a gray line with that, but...
Yeah, it's tricky. They are trying to make money too, and but that shouldn't be their only purpose. They should be, everybody's got to keep a roof over their head. It matters if for the reasons why they're doing it as well. And it seems to me that if you don't watch it and you just don't accept it, or you don't watch it and do accept it, both would be a little hanky.
Sure. Why do you like submitting to film festivals?
I love submitting to film festivals because I've had some of the best experiences at film festivals, meeting other artists around the world, and I still have friends all over the world, and getting to watch their magic and to see how they did it and what complications they went through and risks and what things they were proud of, and I don't know. I love it. I would have to say, and I don't want to pick favorites, but I have to say Woods Hole Sonoma and the Berkshires are my 3 favorite film festivals that I've ever gone to. And I don't know, but for short films, there are a lot of festivals that you wouldn't think of that are Oscar qualifying if you win at the festival. And so when applying to festivals, at least for short films, we were always very cognizant of, when we were putting our list together and putting our budget together, which of those film festivals were Oscar qualifying. So for short film makers out there, I think that's really important to keep in the back of your mind, especially because you're going to have limited funds. And then for feature films, there are less opportunities. There are more of those really big ones that you think of, like Sundance and TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival, Berlin, Cannes, South by, those types of festivals. That's really, if you can get into one of those festivals, that's good. And if you can get into the other festivals, there's a lot of amazing other huge festivals out there, but those are really like the ones that are talked about the most in popular publications. But yeah, it's just the relationships that I love so much and the memories that I have about going. And unfortunately, it can be a little pricey. So the festivals that do take care of their artists, by finding them housing, asking local people to, if they have a spare bedroom, can you host this filmmaker for 3 days or 4 days or whatever, and just doing little things like that. And I think that's why Woods Hole, Berkshires, and Sonoma all stood out to me, because I felt so taken care of while we were there, and they're just great people, and you can tell that they're great communities too, that care about art.
That's fascinating. I didn't know that there would be like a host family, almost like an exchange student. Wow.
Yep. Yeah.
That's really cool. Mm-hmm. When you are raising money for a film, are you setting aside funds for film festivals?
Yes. It's part of the initial budget. You have to understand, if you want to submit to films, you have to do your due diligence and go to sites like filmfreeway.com and research which festivals you want to go to and why. If you get in, how much it's going to be to apply. If you get in, do you want to go to that festival? How much are flights? Where are you going to stay? Do they help you at all? It's those type of questions that go into the film festival line items in the budget. So yes, absolutely. You have to be thinking about everything.
And looking at your Twitter for Cardinal Flicks, it seems like you have traveled a lot. Were most of these local? I think Sonoma was one of them, but most of them are on the East Coast, and it's easier?
Yeah, a lot of them are on the East Coast because I can drive to them. There's been festivals, Calgary up in Canada I couldn't go to because we were filming our 3rd feature at the time. I would have loved to go to Calgary. It's beautiful. But we've gone down to like Fort Lauderdale before. I did go to Sedona. I got stuck down there in some, over there. I'm lost where we are in the world right now. But Sedona was wonderful. Again, one of those great festivals that took care of us. And I was going to fly to Santa Fe, or drive to Santa Fe, because Karen Allen was with me at both of those festivals. And she flew because she's smart, and I drove because I wanted to see the mountains, and I got stuck in Camp Verde because all of the mountain roads had been shut down because it was so windy and it was blowing tractor trailers off the road. So I spent my Santa Fe Film Festival in a Holiday Inn with Denny's glowing as the moon outside my window.
Sounds like a country western song.
Yeah.
That's good. How important is it to get to know the people behind the festivals, the programmers, the people who work there?
I love getting to know everybody. Their job is very hard also. It's a lot of planning, a lot of managing things, a lot of stress on their end, especially if it's a really good film festival. And a lot of the people that I've met care about, I keep using this word community, but it's really at the forefront of what my partner, and Cardinal Flicks believes in is community. And I like to meet those people that believe in bringing good art to their community. And so I think it's important that way. I like to know how they think about films and what films they bring in. And also, it's good because if you want to, if you form a good relationship with them, there's a good chance that they'll at least take a look at your next film and consider it if you had some form of relationship. And that doesn't mean pulling favors. It's just you at least know your film's going to be looked at. In terms of distribution and how film festivals can help you, because none of my films have gotten in those really top film festivals where Variety will cover, Hollywood Reporter will cover all the time, unless a film has got like serious buzz and then they go to another smaller film festival. A lot of those bigger publications don't often. Sometimes they'll go to those festivals just to see how it does or keep up with it and somehow. I think it's more of those publications that help with distribution, but I could be wrong. Again, I've never worked at a festival, so I don't know the ins and outs. But the other good thing about meeting everybody, and not just the people who are in charge of it, but it's like the production assistants or the volunteers that are there, that I love meeting as well. And two great examples that happened both in Woods Hole a few years ago. There was a young man who I believe was in his first year of film school. And because Woods Hole is so small, I brought my electronic scooter with me, and I just scooted all over the place. And
awesome.
This young man was housing where everybody could like buy a t-shirt or could get the passes for what movies were going to be playing. And I always ask, can I put my scooter behind there so I could just walk around? And he was always like, yeah. And then so we just got to chit-chatting, and I asked him where he was going to school, what he wanted to do. And it was just so, it was just happening that we were going to be shooting our third feature, Crybaby Bridge, in, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. And I was like, you want to be a PA? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, write down your email. And of course he wrote like chicken scratch, 19-year-old. And I'm like, all right, what is your email? But he ended up being just so hardworking and lovely. And all of the connections that he made on that set, he's gone on to get a bunch of gigs. I've been kind of keeping up with him. So there are examples like that I love to meet everybody, because it's like if you can help them, it's like, well, then, they're helping you and you get them gigs, and it's all about connections.
Right, and what we talked about being able to connect with people that aren't in the film industry versus those that are, and sometimes the people that you do know in the film industry, then you all go your separate ways, but now you're meeting kind of like-minded people that know the struggles and can appreciate independent film. And it's always interesting to be sitting next to someone at one, and then you kind of turn to you, and then yeah, it's just like you feel like, okay, yeah, you're my kind. Yeah, I know you. I may not know you, but I know you somehow.
Yeah, I appreciate that people go to film school. There's a part of me that wishes I could have at least had a semester to know a little bit more before diving in. But there's also a part of me that's really happy that I didn't go to film school, because I could come in with a blank slate and watch other people do it, like just doing it. And when I have a production designer being like, go to the store and go get me light bulbs, and I'm like, what kind of light bulbs? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, there's just the chaos of the moment. And then you're a PA and you're cooking up eggs because there's a breakfast scene, and then you're clearing plates, and then you're the script supervisor because you're keeping continuity of everybody's forks and knives. And it's like you learn on on the moment, and there have been a few PAs that have fell in love with the industry that way as well, and that is what makes them want to go to film school, but they still prefer to be on set.
I think you had said on your first film that your cinematographer kind of asked you about a shot list or something, and then she did it in a loving way, said, let me kind of give you a couple key tips.
Yeah, her name is Laura Kell, and I haven't worked with her. I only worked with her on that one set, but we were getting close to shooting. We knew it was going to be a 3-day shoot. I was writer, director, producer, production designer, script supervisor. No, I wasn't the script supervisor. Thank goodness I had somebody else do that. I don't know, I was something else. Oh, the wardrobe person on top of it. So 7 jobs, slept 2 hours a night for 4 days straight. So I knew the basics of what each person had to do, but when we were getting close to shoot, Laura was like, are you ready to make a shot list? I'm like, what? I'm like, what's that? And she was just like, and she sat me down and explained to me what a shot list was, because I also didn't know what the numbers next to the scene meant, which helps make a shot list. And I didn't know what a gaffer was. I didn't know what a grip was. I'm like, what are they gripping? And it was just like all this stuff that I learned on the job, and thankfully there was a really great group of people that no one made fun of me, and it was a really, really good learning experience. So yeah, I got lucky.